If we ever want to get to the point where we're living it up in space colonies, then we've got a few big hurdles to overcome. One of the big ones is figuring out what we're going to eat. After all, we can't live off pre-packaged, freeze-dried food forever. And calling in a several thousand kilogram takeout order to Mars isn't exactly cheap either. So since the 1980s, scientists have been studying how to grow plants in space, with the hope that one day we could grow them on a moon or even a Martian colony. But despite what certain movies might suggest, growing plants on another planet, or even somewhere closer to home, is trickier than you might imagine. If we can solve the space botany puzzle, future astronauts could benefit not just from a consistent food supply, but all sorts of planty goodness. One of the first plants astronauts managed to grow in space is Arabidopsis, a cousin to cabbages and radishes, and part of the mustard plant family. It's a favorite model for study in the plant world because its relatively small genome and fast life cycle make it easy to work with. Arabidopsis was first grown in space in 1982 on board the Russian space station. But NASA scientists on board the International Space Station have grown a whole host of other foods since then, using their vegetable production system dubbed veggie. Their safe-to-eat bounty has included Chinese cabbage, red romaine lettuce, Mizuna mustard plants, and a mini form of bok choy. NASA also has another fully automated version of veggie on board called the Advanced Plant Habitat. It uses sensors, cameras, lights, and water and gas reserves that can monitor and control watering, temperature, and oxygen and carbon dioxide levels inside its enclosed chamber automatically. Using the Advanced Plant Habitat, astronauts have been able to grow dwarf wheat and, in 2021, edible peppers. All of those growing experiments have been really important because they've told scientists a lot about how plants grow in the conditions of space. Now, growing plants on board a high-tech space station is one thing, but growing them on the surface of the moon or a planet is another. In addition to putting plants in an environment that suits them, researchers also need to investigate how to make the plants themselves more resilient to the harsh space environment. One way to do that might be through genetic engineering. By tweaking the plant's DNA, botanists could make them more resilient to the stress of spaceflight, make them grow better in low oxygen conditions. Scientists have already grown plants like tomatoes and leeks on Earth using soil that's made to simulate the stuff you'd find on the moon or Mars, which might still be a long way from actually growing them on Mars, but it's still one small step for humankind and could mean we'll be munching on space veg on our way to the red planet in the future.